Hey, remember when I said in the description of my last video that I got my hours cut? Not anymore, baby. One fucking day of grace before, hey, we know you already do your job, but couldn't you, do it more? I guess that's my fault for taking a job where I was told by the employer, yeah, you'll only work 8 hours a night. Probably. Desperation. Patience. I'm editing this in one bitch and I'm not happy about it. I have a more broad video about 2025 planned, but as all plans go, it won't happen and I'm upset. Anyway, despite the complete lack of pop music in any way, and a disturbing amount of Christian contemporary amongst the silent majority, I actually like 2025. It's nowhere near my favorite year, but being an albums guy, I actually think the albums this year have been pretty good. And inside of those albums have been some pretty rave songs. Granted, this year isn't as strong for either of those as 2024 was, or even 2022 if I'm being honest. Everything ranges between 2 to 8 on the Richter scale. There aren't many home runs this year, though there are a few. What I do like about it are new releases from acts I've been anticipating for a while. Viagra Boys, Swans, Model Actress, Car Seat Headrest, Ditz, and Rebecca Black. Which is cute, though there are some new names amongst this list. Beach Bunny, Whitechapel, new to me that is, NW3KD, Tunic, Tulpa, Ada Rook, not new, but this is hard, and more. This year has not been perfect at all. I'm still getting some residuals from last year. Madel Mokhtar, Soft Play, and Big Special all have deluxe albums that I'm tempted to put on my end of year 2025 list since I missed them. There's also one from Violet Pony that's getting a CD release this year, but it released last year. Metal and heavy music this year has been absolutely killing it. I have my contenders for the top best list already. I have some worst list candidates. Normal year, all things considering how nightmarish it is on the outside. I've been pretty slow on this channel to keep up with everything I want to do, and it doesn't help that my new job is so fucking annoying, which makes me look like a hypocrite, and not even in a sexy way. Because of the long list of options to yammer on about, along with my planned video on music at the halfway point, I've become almost paralyzed at what to talk about. By far my favorite release, at least as of right now, Auto Heart might bump that out, those singles are incredible. Please, is probably Dead Channel Sky. Which is strange because it isn't getting much fanfare, probably because clipping aren't really a mainstream or major act like Death Grips where people don't shut the fuck up about them. They're quiet killers and their releases are strange, like fine stews. I have been dying to talk about their horrorcore projects or even some of the songs off their self-titled, even their place in experimental hip-hop. Clipping aren't perfect, but no other band has ever made a Blood of the Fang, Check the Lock, Body and Blood, or even a Story 5.
Come home, Grace, come home. Whoa, Grace, won't you come back home?
And there's a reason for that. Even at their most aggressive on something like Chapter 319,
without no regrets, then keep on counting dollars till it ain't none left. So the streets gon' keep on marching like left, right, left.
they were never doing anything the easy way. I also thought they were done, to be honest. Daveed Diggs was doing racist accents on the Little Mermaid remake. Jonathan Snipes was doing movie soundtracks with William Hudson, and William Hudson wasn't really doing anything that could prevent him from doing clipping. He should have cooed. Also, you can't really top their albums. I'm amazing they got past Mid-City. Splendor and Misery was a strange concept album about a love relationship with a spaceship. The self-title had a track about snuff and masochism. Their horrorcore duo, along with The Deep and their EP Wriggle, were all just so interesting.
Flyers in a briefcase in case she get inspired, she ain't.
Yet, I had to wonder when the steam would run out, especially if Diggs would be stuck doing Disney bullshit. I even suspected the new album would be bad, and keep in mind that prior to this, last album I was excited for, at least this year, Cowards by Squid, kinda let me down. Good album, but honestly, I could put it on any list and it wouldn't matter. Fuck one thing at a time. This is your SCP-055. The one that's not round, I think. Like a book. Speaking of which, Dead Channel Sky is a reference to the Dancer. And he's trancing. Of course, of cyberpunk fame. The literary subgenre in the 80s that produced Judge Dredd. Kidding. No, I thought the album was excellent. And if I had the time and energy, I would absolutely make a full 40-minute video dissecting it. I would also be doing that for every goddamn great album I hear on my day off. If I had one! The album discusses cyberpunk through a modern lens against tyranny and unrest, and urges the listener to utilize this private, secretive part of our world to perhaps fight back. It's an idea. It also looks at a lot of that subculture in our growing techno-feudalist state and satirizes it.
Make the language, run the code to the cipher, pull the yellow wire, listen closely, everything is very important.
I loved the hell out of it, and while I was a little surprised others didn't take to it the same way, it also makes sense. Not only is cyberpunk really niche, I also think hip-hop is just in a weird place. Playboi Carti's newest album had some numbers but faded instantly, and many newcomers have done null. Newer hip-hop releases like The Great Bailout, Gollywog, and By Storm have been moving further and further into drone and nihilism. Dead Channel Sky almost seems like a fun house. The second thing I noticed about it was the album cover. The large bug with eyeball-like antennas. Look, I thought of the Mystery Flesh Pit. If I remember right, I believe this sketch is a symbol of hacktivism and cyberpunk as a subculture, but I'm still learning towards Mystery Flesh Pit. Both because cool, but also because that alien environment being a refuge from a socially eldritch world. That's how my brain connects dots. My point is, I'm not surprised that the reaction was lukewarm bewilderment. And it's not like the Plastic Age, Human After All, or Billy Idol's Cyberpunk are common knowledge among people in this subgenre. You Void Synthesizer isn't a classic, though it should be. This is a niche of a niche of a niche, especially since their last major release was in 2020 and their previous release was in 2022. A smarter man with more time would focus on Ask What Happened, a song which begs to ask questions about how the world turns the way it does, watch the money, watch who's in charge, and follow it to figure out who's really trying to take control of what sector of power. When we live in the present and wonder how things have gotten so bad, we must look back to figure out how to get ourselves out of the hole.
Ask what happened, crunch all the numbers, does it make sense? No, math ain't mad motherfuckers ain't making rent. So history and future belong to the 1%, though. Records in the present got bass to rattle they fence, okay. Fall out from revolution when oil prices spike too high, okay. Fall out from radiation when the top blue and the sky lit up bright, okay.
Or even learn how to process it to understand how to get through. Instead. Full disclosure, I actually don't know or remember if there is an original Mirrorshades. There is a version on the vinyl CD with more tracks like an additional entry to the story saga, but that's all I can tell you. And to be honest, I don't really care if there is a part 1. To me, this is not a song with lore or even a song on the album which continues its themes of technological suppression, dread, or enjoyment. This, to me, is a satire about sunglasses, how they make you feel invincible.
Mirror shades. Round here you wear your mirror shades.
This song is so tongue-in-cheek. The fact it comes towards the end makes it even stranger. It's also one of many clipping songs bolstered by their co-star, in this case Cartel Madras.
Round here I wear my mirror shades. Not to disarm you, I'm totally harmless. I'm just a girl that can't keep a promise.
I have a bunch of these superstars on my backlog to check out their albums. I think Cartel Madras might be the one I'm most excited for. Unlike those songs, here Madras basically owns it. Had it not been for the weird glitchy electronic production and chorus, to me this would probably be her song. I need to break down this thing in bits to explain its genius. God, I've been spitting so much. The beat is extremely simple. Arguably, it's just the glitchy synths, distant clanks, constant kick drums, and gentle hats. Hip-hop beats don't normally go into house beats, but here this one slides right into it. The instrumentals are almost Portal-like, which I know I keep saying, but I need you to understand I am constantly thinking about Portal. The occasional samples of giggles, clinking glasses, and random recordings give it this montage energy, the ba-dum that hits in the chorus and usually after a verse. The whole song really sounds like a high-tech future elite. Diggs' chorus rapping is actually really sparse. He sings the chorus and the post-chorus.
Dancing at a nightclub, hoping that the DJ won't stop.
And what is this cacophony of noise about?
Mirror shades. Round here you wear your mirror shades.
Especially sunglasses that make you look really cool.
I had no idea that they give you Oakleys. I might go to the dentist once a month.
Why? The vast majority of the album explores the subculture of cyberpunk through stories of drug trafficking, hacktivism, and political corruption. If the themes are correct and the closer is a tentative warning, then Mirrorshades is essentially a boast about being invincible. The verses are about being at the prime of your life, but not really.
Running on a treadmill, hoping that the body stays fit. Hands on hips to catch your breath now. Fuck this treadmill.
The song ends up coming off more as a satire of this very concept. Diggs tells you that where he goes, probably some deep part of downtown, you'll wear sunglasses to shield yourself from reality, to reflect it back. Kind of reminds me a bit of They Live in a kind of way.
You cool with that?
Comes off less as a question and more as a hurry up and make up your mind. Gives it this red pill, blue pill kind of question. Oh yeah, The Matrix. Which is funny because the second rapper, Cartel Madras, actually comes off as both overly assured and insecure as a result. The verses from Madras starts out with a mixture of assurement, flattery, and insecurity in their start, especially in the second one.
I should like your mirror shades, you're moving like a renegade, too big for your...
It starts out with this, I can see why you are the way you are flattery, but as soon as she comes in contact with the drink, she starts to snap back.
Video game, I want real good juice, not Minute Maid. I want real good juice when the lights dim. I want real bad news when I let you in. I want real big truths when I win.
And strangely, this is when the beat comes in, as if this is what the Mirrorshades are for.
Real dense strokes when I'm on page 69. The sun hung real low when I saw the time. My heart beat real fast.
Because I don't imagine her being upset that her drink isn't high class, more that she believes she deserves high class. She is simultaneously laying her case down and proving herself by showing herself to be high class, justifying her right to have real juice. The first verse is a bit more loose.
I'm that bitch with the blade. I'm that bitch on the stage. I run loops round the page.
There's a sense of division between I'm not entirely assimilated into your culture, along with I am absolutely this culture, goddammit, and the slightness in the divide just lets the beat come right in.
Round up the dukes from the age. Round up the troops from the cage. Grounded in tricks, I'm a maid.
Here it happens so gently you don't notice it until it's there. I'm amazed they do it twice here, and it genuinely blows my mind more the second time. Because it comes as she says, hey, I deserve some real shit here, I know who I am. Cartel Madras' rapping is genuinely great and does far better than I could have fucking expected. The song constantly switches between those two because the divide is itself the feature. The divide between endlessly cool and trying to justify that you're endlessly cool.
Round here you wear your mirror shades. You cool with that?
The ending of the second verse from Madras really does give it away though.
I say, what if I look so fine when I die? What if I look so fine when I die? What if I look so fine? Yeah.
What if I look good when I die? Because there is the obvious that wearing sunglasses at night in a light-polluted metropolis is stupid, and that's not the point. The chorus right after this,
Running on a treadmill, hoping that the body stays fit.
along with the last chorus, also makes that point.
Fuck this treadmill, you don't need it if you've got mirror shades.
It's not about being healthy or actually elite. The song is about role-playing coolness. It's completely flashy, but it's also desolate.
Real good juice, not Minute Maid. I want
It means nothing besides that real juice costs more, or is alcohol. I also like that after these gripes and quarrels, finally Madras is okay with wearing the glasses.
Cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
As if this whole thing was a long thought process, and that's what makes a song great. I like songs where you can really guess what it could be about, and there's not really a clear answer, provided it's not poorly written. There's also a couple other angles of the song I was noticing while I was editing the audio. The first one is that the sunglasses could actually be like a computer screen, like perhaps the opulence of being behind a screen at all times and never truly being there in the moment, hence the cockiness in everyone, but also the fakeness in it. And there's also the angle of social media in it, though that one's a bit more of a stretch, but it is technically there if you really want to stretch it out to get there. Again, this song is really interesting. As a satire of elite culture, it gives away how vapid and stupid it really is. However, this opulent and rich culture is always what the cyberpunk subculture is rebelling against. Cyberpunk culture, at least from what little media I encounter with, is about body modification, leaving society's expectations behind, and, ironically, experiencing humanity through technological euphoria. I'll be honest, I haven't read or interacted with much cyberpunk. I'm not interesting. In these pieces of art, including the big game Cyberpunk, the ultra-wealthy elites live in opulence and emptiness. Their measurements of validation are in competition and materialization. The song itself is a satire of that goal and how it lures people in. How a normal club goer or dancer at a club, I don't really know, I'm hoping the song isn't implying that Diggs is a pimp, can be lured into this uber culture of wealth and luxury, only being lured in by its mirror's edge sheen. I still don't know why it's part 2. Was the first part when Diggs bought the glasses, like in The Hooded Man? I hate the sun in my eyes. I need sunglasses. I now have sunglasses. Mirrorshades. I have been hoping to do a video on hip-hop on this channel for years. I wanted to start with Brockhampton, with Iridescence, probably New Orleans, just to explain why experimental hip-hop is so interesting. That never really happened because music has gone in directions I couldn't have possibly predicted, and I got distracted. You'd think after a year and a half I'd be more prepared for this, but I keep getting pulled away so the elderly can complain that they can't find Raisin Bran. And I wanted to talk about a bunch of different artists and why the genre matters and whatnot, but that might be in the past. Hip-hop has gone from a staple of music to more of a gimmick, especially with rage and drill becoming such tropes in the mainstream. It doesn't seem like hip-hop is going to have much of a presence in the future, provided we have one. Woo. Obviously, it will still exist. Maybe. We started at blues a century ago, and it's not going to stop because someone's blank stare deemed it warfare. I'm so depressed. I wanted to start with clipping, but I was saving that for Halloween, and then my Halloween ended up sucking. While I can't say Dead Channel Sky is perfect, I did love the hell out of it, and if I had better headspace, I'd probably gush about it more. I sometimes ask myself, especially in this year, why I still bother with new music. Well, here you go. Because every once in a while, someone captures lightning in a bottle and writes a satire about the illusion of coolness in the context of a cyberpunkian dystopia as a battle cry to where we can go in the dark when the lights go on. From the perspective of a woman being asked to wear some sunnies, it's a witty, hilarious, and cool-ass song from some of the best musicians